Find people that take ownership, that when they see an issue, that even if it's not in their department, they tell you about it, as opposed to, it's not my department, you know? And so, and it brings me back. Where are these quietly quitting people nowadays? I bet they're freaking unemployed. I love quit, that, so, on LinkedIn, I'm quietly quitting, Yeah, where are you now?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning. We're back. Today, I want to talk about what makes a business resilient. How do you build a business that is resilient? What comes to mind?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that come to mind on that. Yeah. And actually, right, in some way I was thinking about this yesterday, but in a different way. I just had some renovations to my house. Mm-hmm. House built in 71, 50-year-old house. And time to new roof. But, I've got a flat roof. So residential flat roof. Yeah. And then, so it was like a major overhaul, because the second story shingles. So it's almost like two roofing systems connected together. And even the roofer has been doing 15 years. He said it was the hardest roof that he had done. And then yesterday, I don't know, we just got pouring rain. Mm-hmm. So first thing I want to do is go look at it. How do they divert the water, the crickets, and doing everything else? And, like everything in a resiliency, I don't think we plan for like the worst case scenarios. So to be resilient, I think you always plan for the worst case scenario. Like we hadn't had rain in a while. It dumped a good inch or two pretty quickly. So I handled it. But like the systems where everybody focus on that you can see, nothing's, if you've got a metal roof, nothing's going to drip through that metal roof, right? Yeah. But nobody pays attention to the connectors. And so there was little flaws that I started noticing in between the drains. Mm-hmm. So the roof is perfect. It's impervious to water. They layered it all in, but now you got to connect to a drain. So mine have drains of this. That's where you're going to have the fails. Mm-hmm. So I think to have a resilient business is anytime there's a transfer or connection, those are the things that you really have to shore up, because that's what's going to break. Everybody thinks, because everybody focuses on that. And so what I noticed on it in mine is the drain's got a junction box and then had a boot that went into it. Mm-hmm. But the boot was also blocking a little bit of the 3-inch hole pipe gutter to go out. So that wasn't seen. You had to feel it with your hand. That wasn't something that only an experienced person would have seen that. And it's easier to experience crew move or walk over. So they got it on 4 of my 7 drains, but there was 3. I was like, oh, flood of water, that backs up. I see where there's going to be a leaking point. Yeah. And it's the same thing with building. So I think to have a resilient company is all of those little connections and interactions. When you change from one to another, those are the areas where you have to focus on. Yeah. Because that's what's going to break. And I think you always got to look at the worst case scenario before you ever develop anything and say, can I live with this? Mm-hmm. This is going to happen. Can I live with this? If I can live with this, now let's keep building. And now we've got a product. So that's what comes to mind on resiliency.
It's the handoff between one person and another, or one department and another, or the employee and the customer, et cetera. I think another thing is what you just demonstrated in that you went and audited your systems.
Yes.
Like you don't put roofs on houses for a living.
No.
But you can go and audit it, and you can say, okay, I understand conceptually. You've talked to the roofer. I know how this should work, and I'm going to look at it while it's working. Mm-hmm. And
also during times, now's the time, flood of water. And there was a thing that my wife cut out, old 50-year-old drain. When we let sand got in that drain, it backed up, floosh, caught it, you know.
But if you would have just said, okay, thanks for all the good work, it looks great, and then went about your life, you're going to end up with a lot of problems. And then it would be like, I think most people would be like, well, it's your fault, the roofer. And now it's the blame game, and it's like, well,
what's going to happen is the roof is perfect.
It's your house.
The roof didn't leak. Oh, it's 50-year-old equipment, and which it is that. But it's that transfer back and forth. And two, luckily, this roofer's awesome, had experience, come back, Pair to that. Yes. And even actually was looking back after the rainstorm and everything. So a great partner, and I choose them 100 times over again. Yeah. But you got to take ownership and pay attention and stay there and look at. And when things are going fast or floodwaters are coming, that's when you need to go out and watch.
Yeah.
And pay attention to how things are directed and where it's going. Yeah. So
well, that's another one. Pick a good partner, pick a good vendor, pick a good, someone to work with that knows what they're doing, has your best interest in mind.
Going to be there afterwards when there's a problem.
As you're building systems, key employees internally, picking the right people to to lead those projects of building those systems.
Find people that take ownership, that when they see an issue, that even if it's not in their department, they tell you about it, as opposed to, it's not my department, you know? And it brings me back. Where are these quietly quitting people nowadays? I bet they're freaking unemployed. I love
quit,
that, on LinkedIn, I'm quietly quitting, Yeah, where are you now?
Yeah.
You're going to be unemployed and AI will replace you because,
Well, it's a victim mentality.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You gave me this rule set. Oh, that was in my job description. That wasn't in my job description. I'm not going to do any more than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a culture of auditors is, auditing of the system that potentially they built too.
Yeah,
is a very productive one, and high outcomes.
And then, like we've done and have talked about, to have resiliency, you need to do things that shore up and can be built upon to build your foundation. Mm-hmm. I've always, in times, I haven't watched Shark Tank in years, but times that I have, the ones where it was like, you're spending $700 per customer acquisition and you're selling a $20 product. And it's just like, if you got to spend that much money to sell your product sucks. You're not resilient. And you're going to have that point, but that's going to be a short term, not resilient.
Yeah.
If you've got to consistently spend that money to replace that. Mm-hmm. So to me, those aren't resilient. I hate those types of businesses. Mm-hmm. Because I want to build upon it. I want to build upon it, not have to keep redoing things daily. And that's what those businesses are. You're then beholden to the SEO logarithm of your social platform. And once it's successful, a newer platform successful, they're going to up the price. So people that are in TikTok now, of course, that price will go up before long, or TikTok be non-existent, one of the two.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you're beholden to your ad campaign. If it stops working for whatever reason, then Yeah. On the other side of that, I would say staying on top of what your customers want and need, staying in front of them, staying connected with them, paying attention. Again, it's kind of auditing your systems to an extent, but looking at customer-facing intel that's coming in and saying, okay, how are they using the product? What's the drop-off? What's that long-term value that are they achieving or not achieving? And analyzing it and saying, how can we make this better for them? And how can we make it better in a way that we know that they need it, not that they're asking every time. But maybe they're getting blocked.
Both. They could be right and they could be wrong. Yeah.
So I think staying in front of your customer is a big one. But a lot of these, kind of ideas are boring, right? It's like, it's not the sexy side of building a company. It's the CEO side of, hey, okay, do we have the proper team in place? Are we then building systems that matter, that support our business infrastructure based on the positive signals we're getting from our customers? Now, are we supporting our customers? Are we looking forward? I see a lot of small business owners, especially, but then mid-level CEOs, always reacting. They're always putting out fires, and they're always, it's always this reactionary mode.
Correct.
Versus, okay, let's just do the boring work and disciplined work of drilling down, getting our foundation laid, and then, putting reserves, building in healthy margins, getting rid of products that are distracting, those kind of things. Then you have a company that you actually can expand on and grow on and sleep at night.
Yeah.
You can go to bed at night.
But the resilience and the foundation, those are the things you do not see.
No.
Those are things you don't see, but those are the inner workers. And to me, that is what supports the companies.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to be able to go to bed at night and have a torrential downpour and know that I have no leaks.
Yeah.
Right?
That was a good feeling. Bring it on.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you can enjoy the rain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. On to the next one.